Good evening, board members. My name is Jake Alexander, and I vote in the Battlefield District. Thank you for giving me the opportunity to speak to you here this evening. I am a proud father of 2 young children. I'm married. My kids are not quite old enough to be reading novels. Soon enough, though, faster than I can comprehend, so I'm told. They'll be making choices about the types of content that they ingest from books and all manner of media. And as a parent, I completely understand and share the desire to have a say in what that content consists of. I'm doing it already, in fact. I'll admit, sometimes I let my son watch YouTube kids videos on my phone. It's terrible, I know. And sometimes I'll look over and say, "What the heck are you watching, son? You can't watch that. It's too scary." Or "It's too gross." Or, "You know what? I don't like SpongeBob SquarePants. He freaks me out. Veto." And that's my right as a loving parent who wants the best for his kids. And there is nothing wrong with that. In fact, I'd be derelict in my duty if I didn't do that. However, what I don't do after I exercise my parental veto authority is call up YouTube Kids and demand that they take down all of the SpongeBob movies.
Order, please.
It's my right and my duty to help my kids make the best choices for themselves in accordance with my wife and I's beliefs and values about what will help them become the best people they can. It is not my right to force those beliefs and values on every other parent and their children simply because it's how we do things. That is censorship, and it has no place in a public school setting, which is expressly designed to consider the viewpoints of all of its students. Now, to those folks who are supportive of this measure to remove quote-unquote harmful material from the library shelves, I can hear them saying, "But you are forcing your beliefs on me and my kids. Look, I did the search in the digital library app, and there's 172 results for gay and only 2 for heterosexual." Well, I posit that that's because in 99% of these library books, it's a given that they're heterosexual. It's just not explicitly called out because it's the norm. It doesn't need to be identified as such. It's the standard expectation. And if there is a concern about there not being enough books about Jesus Christ, the answer is not to remove books that deal with challenging topics, just add more books about Jesus. I don't think anyone would object to that. I'm Jewish. I have no problem whatsoever with that. Whether or not you follow his teachings or believe that he was the Son of God, there's a lot you can learn from him in his life and the impact he has made on humanity. Don't close off voices that differ from your own. Welcome them and see what you find. I'd also point out as a matter of tactics that if ever there was a time and place in human history when censorship was a less effective method of policing our kids' content, it would be America in 2021. We're all familiar with a little thing called the internet and its vile spawn, social media. The best way to get a high schooler to hop on a computer and start Googling a topic is to tell them that that topic is forbidden. Before all this media attention, who here had heard of 33 Snowflakes by Adam Rapp? I've read some of the guys' other work in the past, and even I'd never heard of it. Well, you can bet a lot more folks have it on their reading list now. Censorship is simply not the answer. It doesn't solve any problem. Rather than spending energy fussing over, say, depictions of inappropriate relationships, as was the complaint about 33 Snowflakes, why not instead give that time and energy to organizations dedicated to actually fighting pedophilia? That would be a worthy and noble use of the concerned parent's time. One final thought, and then I'll get out of here. It has been suggested by certain members of this school board that simply banning these offensive books is not enough. They have said that they should also be burned. As the prior speaker indicated, this takes the conversation to an entirely different level. The burning of books is an act of physical and intellectual violence. It is an act of cowardice. It is a fundamentally un-American act. It is impossible to hear talk of the burning of books and not immediately think about the book-burning rallies held during the Third Reich of Nazi Germany. Whatever our personal beliefs, whatever our intellectual disagreements, if there is anything here that should be censored, it is talk of book burning. I hope that most of us, at least, can agree on that. Thank you.